Sippers, welcome to this episode of the Tea With Me podcast. I am alfresco. I'm Shane Todd, but I'm outdoors. When I said I'm alfresco, very aware it sounded like some sort of character from The Sopranos who would get killed quickly. I don't think I look like I could be in The Sopranos. I could potentially be like a mafia guy's son. I would be well cast as a violent mafia guy's son, and I'm like a real piece of work and have henchmen around me all the time, and Dave Elliott and Colin Geddes would play those henchmen. Welcome to this episode. I'm outdoors, I'm doing work in the garden, so I've set up my wee recording station outside, and there'll be a lot of neighbours looking at me going, what is that guy doing? Because I look like I'm commentating on a football match in the 1920s, because I've got my wee microphone held up. And also, I put out a video today on Facebook. Well, not today for you guys, but today for me. Where I put up a video where it involved like pigeons being in a garden, and I made myself a DIY beak out of toilet roll holders, and essentially put like a t-shirt balaclava on. Long story, but I'm just saying my neighbours today have seen a lot. Oh Jesus, look at the size of that bee. I think I'm allergic to bees. There's not many segues there, but I think I'm allergic to bees. I once, maybe it's wasps, I was playing football. I don't mean to be racist, but they do look the same. No, I know you shouldn't say that, but they do look the same. I was pre-season football training when I played for Hollywood, maybe like 4 years ago, and I went for a run as part of this thing we were doing, and every like half mile there was different coaches from the club there to like keep you on track, make sure you knew which way you were going. This is in like a forest called Redburn, near where I'm from, and I was running along and I ran into a wasp. You know what I mean? Like not like he was an old friend. You know, what are you doing out here, walking your dog? No, there was a wasp in the air. I ran into it and then it just stayed on my cheek for a minute and it stung me, and I felt the stinger go in, and like some sort of fucking like sexy Steve Irwin type guy just pulled the pincher out. I don't know if it's called a pincher, is it a stinger? Although there's nerds listening who'd be, it's actually called the Hyposaurus thermarax, but whatever it is, I pulled it out, and then it started to sting. Like I didn't even cry or anything, even ask anyone. Do you remember when that was your defence for something? Just ask anyone. People were like, you pissed yourself in P3. I didn't. It was sweat. Ask anyone. Cause who would you ask? But I ran into this. This has nothing to do with tea. It has nothing to do with the podcast. It has nothing to do with my guest. But I got stung in the face, and I like ran to the first coach, and I said, I think I just got stung by a wasp in the face. Am I red or anything? And he goes, nah, you're right. Ran on. Next coach. I go up to him. I was like, here, do I have like a sting on my face or anything? He goes, no, I don't think so. Then I was like, maybe I'm just being stupid. Ran on to the next coach. When I was about, 200 yards away, he went, whoa! And I was like, oh, what's crack here? And then I realised, his reaction was to my face, because it was like in The Nutty Professor, whenever he's changing in between the two. Or like Hitch, remember the Will Smith film Hitch, when his face swells up? It was like that. And then we had to go to a wedding the next day, and my wife goes, no, you're right, it doesn't look like wasp sting, it looks like you've been in a fight or something. So it wasn't sweet, but so I think I'm allergic. But let me just take a sip of tea. I kind of don't know if I should feel guilty saying this in a way, but it's been a good couple of days here. I know that's maybe wrong to say because everything that's so bad at the minute, but and who knows what's down the line for anyone, but we've been blessed with very nice weather, and I've just been in the garden doing garden things. Went to Asda today to get our essentials. Realised they had a wee bit of a garden section. Could have spent £700, but I just got a few wee bits and pieces, and I feel like it's been a mad time kind of for everyone. But just the last couple of days, the sun coming out, I think, makes a big difference to everyone. And Not that I've forgotten about what's going on. I'm very aware of how bad everything is for a lot of people, and as I say, you don't know what's going to happen to you, but it's it's nice to just escape a wee bit today, even though it's just in the garden. You know, it just feels kind of nice to stick the headphones on, listen to a couple of podcasts, and my own, obviously. Nice to escape, you know, just stick some of my back catalogue on and enjoy it. Imagine if you pulled up alongside me at traffic lights and you thought I was talking, but I was just listening to my own podcast. Definitely strange. But I recorded an episode, which is today's episode, with JC Stewart, who is a singer-songwriter, very, very talented guy. I first became aware of him a couple of years ago, maybe like 3-4 years ago, when he had a single out. And he's young now, so he's even younger then. And he had a single out. I think we played it on the Radio Ulster show at the time. We followed each other on Twitter and sort of chat. I was like, have you any live shows coming up? And anyway, didn't speak to him for a while. Not like we fell out or anything. It wasn't my fault. Ask anyone. But yeah, just fell out of touch. And then he sort of, as he explains in this episode, he kind of was writing for other people for a long time as opposed to doing his own performing. So when he kind of started putting his own stuff back out there, it really caught my eye because he's really, really good. And I hate sounding like a suck up to guests, you know, but I don't even know if I said it to him, but I think he's great. I think he's really good. And he's going to be massive. Like, he's going to blow up. He's always on these lists of, like, MTV top 10 artists to watch out for, like, worldwide and stuff. He's on loads of those. And this week, I was really, really chuffed because his new single is Radio 1 Single of the Week, which must be class as a music artist. I mean, Sly, that they've never picked any MCBs for that, but, you know, such is life. Sly. But so we actually... Did we? I don't think we talked about this in the podcast. He supported Snow Patrol at their Ward Park gig in Bangor last year or earlier in the year. I don't know when time is. I think it was last year, and I got chatting to him then. Although I was blitzed at that. I mean, I was really blitzed. I mean, it was really blitzed to the point where the head of BBC Northern Ireland is this guy called Peter Johnson. I've met Peter a couple of times, and you know, we get on well. Real nice guy. I remember being at the concert and seeing Peter there. Now, I'm not a networker, right? Despite what you might think, I honestly don't schmooze. Okay, I don't schmooze, and a lot of the time I'll give people like a wide berth, especially at, like someone like Snow Patrol. You know, someone like him's probably bumping into a load of people, so I just think, you know, I'll say hello and sort of leave you to it. And I remember the next day going, that's right, Peter from BBC was there last night at the concert. I was just gin and tonic. Someone should mash that up into a remix single. But I remember seeing him and going, thank God, I was so drunk, thank God I didn't chat to him, because God knows what I would have been saying. You know, like pitching him ideas, like, Peter, it's a BBC show, it's called Alligators with Shane, and it's just me fighting alligators. And he'd go, but you're allergic to wasps. I mean, surely alligators are going to be way too much. Oh, that sun is lovely. That sun is lovely, isn't it? Cut a very, very long story, still like a medium length. The next day I saw a picture on Facebook of someone that was at the concert, and I was in the background talking to Peter from BBC. So I'd gone to bed going, thank God, I was so drunk, thank God I didn't chat to him, because God knows what nonsense I was talking. And then the next day I realised, oh no, I did, you know. But hey, we're on Radio Ulster at the minute, so it mustn't have been that bad. Whatever, it was bad, but thankfully it wasn't that bad. The JC Stewart episode of Tea With Me podcast is coming at you right now. Before we do it, I want to plug the Patreon, which is patreon.com/teawithmepodcast. That's a way to support the podcast, get involved on a more official level. Okay, you know, like we're chatting in the bar here, but if you want to take it to the penthouse, check out the Patreon. You support the podcast and you get a load of content. You get like the bonus episode me and producer Dan do every week, and they're a lot of fun. Like this week we had Kieran Bartlett on an episode. Last week we talked about like the best movies of all time, and our opinions on those, and they're a lot of fun. So cheers if you get a minute to check that out. If you can't support that though, absolutely no problem. Just enjoy the episodes. You know by now we're bringing them out Wednesdays and Fridays. This Friday is going to be just me doing a solo episode, and if the weather stays like this, I'll just do it outside, unless producer Dan messages me after I send him this audio and goes, never do an outdoor one again, it was really muffled. But it sounds kind of alright to me. So check out the JC Stewart episode coming at you now. He was really fun to talk to. There's a couple of technical issues because he's in Macrofelt and they still have dial-up internet. Not my fault, but I still apologise anyway. Yes, every Wednesday and Friday, if you can rate and review the podcast, I'd appreciate that. On Apple Podcasts, we're in the charts. We're top of the pops. We're top of the pops, so let's enjoy it. Sippers, here's my Belfast Blues mug, which Aaron Butler made for everybody that was involved with Belfast Blues. Nice touch. What did I do for them? Nothing. So enjoy this episode. It's JC Stewart on the Tea With Me podcast with Shane Todd. Sip, sip. My first question for every guest is, do you drink tea? I can already see.
I'm drinking out of a mug from the musical Wicked. Right. It doesn't actually say Wicked on it anymore because it was when I was about 8 we got this mug.
Unofficial merch from just a guy out the back.
It's like, get your mugs. I love tea. Especially since I've been home because of the whole Corona thing going on. I've drank about 12 cups a day. I'd say it's pretty good.
Yeah, people are definitely rediscovering their relationship with tea in these times. I'm drinking. This is very niche, but I'm drinking. Do you know what that is?
It's QPR, Queen's Park Rangers Football Club.
How niche?
Which actually, I live right beside the stadium in London.
Oh, have you been
just
to a
down
game?
The road. I have not been to a game, no. So I need to go. I'm a United fan, so they have never played each other, but yeah.
I'm exactly the same. I'm a United fan, and I did this thing where about 4 years ago, I thought every time I'm over in London, I'm going to go to a different club game, and I'll work my way down the leagues. I'll go see non-league teams, all the fans in the stand together. And then I just went once to QPR and I thought it was quite good, but then I just never again went to any other game while I was in London. But the first time I did it, I was I do this now.
Yeah, that's my thing. I just go to niche football games. You gotta go Brentford and
yeah.
Apparently Fulham's meant to be a good one, and that's not too far away from me either, but I've never been to Craven Cottage. Apparently it's a good one.
It looks class because they have that old stadium, proper old.
Yeah, and it's real small as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, I'm just the guy. I thought people would know me as the guy who he's always going to different games in London, but
that was going to be your niche.
maybe I'd have a blog. I don't know, but it never happened.
Just like when you did Live at the Apollo, it's straight from Northern Ireland. He goes to niche London football games. It's Shane Todd.
And there'd be chants, football chants, whenever I was walking on stage. That's a dream. So
that's the dream. I feel like you have dreamed. I feel like you've planned this out more than you're letting on.
Yeah, to be honest, I'd already bought the web domain. And it was just guy who goes to different London football grounds.com.
It's catchy. It is catchy. What is it? Guy G W G GWD TL F G. So GL. It's not very catchy, is it? No.
To be fair, even abbreviated, it's too long. But are you back Are you back in Northern Ireland, or are you over in England? Or
yeah, what? I'm in Macrofelt. I've been here for a couple of weeks now. Yeah,
is that where you're from?
Living back. Yeah, I'm from Macrofelt.
I did. By the way, see the way you said that there was a lot of pride in that, and I liked it. You were like, "Yeah, I'm from Macrofelt."
I know. I'm aware.
I did the
Terrace Hotel, right?
Terrace Hotel on my tour, and it was brilliant. It was it shouldn't have been, but it was. We showed up. The only thing I asked for, I'll ask you about your your gig rider in a second. Mine is lights and a microphone, a microphone with a lead.
That's all it is.
Preferably some water if you can manage it. And I went to the Terrace Hotel, and they were they have a top of the range light system in their function room, and I was like, this is unreal. And the guy goes, it's not working, mate. It stopped working last night. Right, okay. And then I said, all right, well, where's the wired microphone? He goes, mate, you're not going to believe this. it got nicked. And I went, let me guess, last night. He goes, got nicked last night. But it was, I mean, if you know anything about that, get in touch with the police. But like, if you have any local information, but it was a belter of a show.
I like, as you can tell, I'm not that surprised. So it's, I don't know, is this happening in Belfast where they're giving out plastic gloves, like to go into shops? So you have to put on like the little disposable gloves, but they've had to put like people on the doors of every supermarket because people keep nicking the box of gloves in that group belt.
Yeah, I mean, that's something.
There's going to be one guy, isn't it, with just like 8 boxes of gloves, just in case. But don't know what you need them for, but just in case.
And that's his name, just in case. But I mean, there's something Belfast about that kind of thing. About like, I don't know if you saw like a video doing the rounds on social media of a guy like they were doing social distancing outside a spa in Belfast, and some fella just had his shirt off trying to fight security guards. I mean, there's something about that where you go, normally that would be bad, but in lockdown you go, it's nice to see people still going about business as usual in a way.
It's nice to see people living their dreams in a time when a lot of dreams are being crushed.
Yes.
And that's the way I'm kind of looking at it. It's a beautiful, it makes me a little bit emotional. It's beautiful.
I mean, the terrace. I mean, I'm going back on I'm going to say I'm going back on the tour this year, but the tour is due to start September, October, and I don't even know if that is going to happen.
I just pulled mine. Gone.
I was going to say, what are you doing about shows? Did you have a tour? Well, you were about to go and like.
Oh, I was doing like Limelight and doing Academy in Dublin and all that stuff. I think it was 12 dates through Europe, and then like 30 summer festivals booked, and it's all gone, all done.
Man.
But you know what? It's okay. Everybody's in the same boat. It's gonna be, it's an interesting time just to try and reevaluate what I'm actually doing, which is something I like to avoid most of the time, to be honest.
Yeah,
but now I have to think about it.
Just keep going and don't think. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to make everybody kind of who is a performer of any kind do that. You know, just sort of rethink everything. Which was like when this all happened at the start. I was like, oh no, I can't gig every week. You know, I sort of take for granted that I can get up on stage about 4 nights a week here. Like locally, could just go down and do a spot. That's gone, but I think it'll make me appreciate stand up and performing way more whenever we get to do it again. Like I don't think I take it for granted, but I think I'll definitely have more of an appreciation for it.
100%. It's like, well, like, yeah. I was meant to be playing shows all year, and now I'm not, and I'm like, I cannot wait for the day that I get back on a stage. Like, that is going to be mental. It's going to be so much fun.
It doesn't matter where it is. Yeah. It doesn't matter where it is, to how many people just need
literally, like, send me to wherever. I'll play in Ballymena. You know what I mean? I'll go and I'll do it.
The Braid Arts Centre.
Yeah. Is that where the Ballymena venue is?
Genuinely a good spot. A good spot.
Good night.
The rumor used to be, you know, Ballymena crowds are very Bible Belt. You know, they don't like the dirty stuff. But then when you go,
sometimes that means they like it more. Do you know what I mean? They're like, oh, that's outrageous. That is outrageous.
I find that they're the sort of people who would say they don't like the dirty stuff. You know what I mean? As soon as you're 3 minutes into a set, you can see them going, yes, because they're repressing it. So whenever they
give them half a Corona, they're absolutely off it. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, hopefully not giving anyone Corona, but
well, you know, yeah.
I mean, that's crazy because that Limelight show was going to be. I keep sending you Instagram videos of your poster. Seems to always follow me about when I'm in Limelight.
Inside of the stage.
And for some reason, you're always in the shadows. You're always in darkness, and I don't know why. Even like during
always
the day.
watching. Always watching, always waiting.
But that gig was sold out, right? Or
sold out. It was kind of my first headline show in Belfast. The last headline show I did in Belfast was McHugh's that we barely sold out. We sold out in the day, and that's like 90 tickets. So Limelight was sold out, and I was buzzing. Yeah, the wee pit in McHugh's.
That's a brilliant venue.
The sweatiest room in the world. Oh, really? It is like, it's tight, and literally you're just like, there's no stage, so you're on the same level as everybody. Everyone is just in your face, and you're like, oh, okay. Just sweating the bit out watching these people. But yeah, Limelight was, and then we had other plans for like a bigger show in Belfast in September that's been cancelled as well. We never even got to put that on sale. And I was like, yeah, but it's all good. We'll figure it out.
It's so gutting. Now, are you doing many like live shows from the house and stuff like that?
People who follow me on Instagram, I've done like 7 a day. It's getting too much. It's like it's like because you do your own, and we've got this like world tour that we're doing at the minute through. We did like a Irish episode, we did a German one last night. We're doing like 3 episodes in Asia with like K-pop bands, which can only go well. And we're doing like a Finland episode, an American.
I like to think you're singing your songs exclusively in those languages.
Well, do you know what? The first ever song that I had out that another artist released was a K-pop band, and not many people know about this song. It's very niche, and it is. It's like, it was called "Don't Stop the Dancing." It wasn't my best work, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, it's like fully in Korean. It's like I don't know. Like, you have a translator who takes your lyrics and just makes them Korean, essentially. But there's like 12 guys doing a full dance routine in this music video. It's amazing.
I mean, did you ever get to speak to those guys? Like, I'm obsessed with K-pop. So, like, did those guys ever reach out? Was there any chat with them? And what was it like watching your music being performed in that way?
I mean, I feel like they got dropped about a song later, so I don't know if they exist anymore. It didn't go very well, if we're being honest. But yeah, no, I had a K-pop band reach out recently called Six, which is CIX, obviously. Which is how you spell six in Korea.
Of course it is.
And anyway, they reached out, and I'd done some video where someone had shown me their video, and I'm like, that's really cool, whatever. Then they tagged me in something, and I just said, cheers, lads. Have a good one. And that is my best performing tweet by so many. It has like 12,000 likes. And I'm like, I've actually tried on Twitter before. Nobody cares. And now I've just said thanks to a K-pop band, and that's what works.
I mean, the dream would surely be to write a song for BTS, because those guys are different level.
Mate, it's just, the BTS fandom is a terrifying thing. It's like, do you want to get in the middle of that though? Because there's a risk involved. If they turn on you, you're not running from that. You know, you can run from the CIA. You cannot run from BTS fans.
I mean, did they get into a big spot? Was it Ariana Grande or so? There was something to do with maybe Saturday Night Live, and I just remember hearing that, like, yeah, those fans like proper go after you. Have you ever incurred the wrath of people on social media? Like, you ever I don't know, made an innocuous comment or whatever?
I mean, I don't think I have, and I can't believe that I haven't yet. It's on the way. It's on the way. I'm known for just, especially interviews with like tabloids and stuff, I always just say stuff, and I'm like, I should not have said that. Well, and then in the Sun the next day is, and like, whoa, yeah.
Do you find that you get asked the same? Well, of course, you always get asked the same questions. So what I started doing about a year, 2-3 years ago, was just dropping in like a couple of lies into every interview that I did, but like making them kind of subtle and just hoping and just moving on and hoping that they would be printed. And last week in the Irish News, they printed an interview with me, and they asked like what kind of sports I played, and I said, like I just play football, do a bit of running and street fighting. And the journalist was like, sorry, did you say street fighting? And I went, yeah, I mean, I don't really do it as much anymore, but like when I was a kid, I would have done a lot of it. And she asked me more about it, and I just changed the subject. And hey, it was in last week's Irish News. My mum sent me it and went, why did you say you do street fighting? And just for something to do, you know, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, I had one came out recently where I did a similar thing, but pretty much I just get bored and then I exaggerate things to make them more entertaining, essentially. So I went to a thing, and you know the singer Lizzo, you know the
Yes.
American singer Lizzo, she's doing our thing. So I essentially, she was walking out of somewhere where I was walking in, and she gave me a look and essentially said hey or something. And now what I exaggerated to and what was printed in the Sun about 2 days ago, the headline is Lizzo has the hots for JC. So according to that, me and Lizzo are having an on-off again fling. So that's really fun. So that's in the Sun right now. That's not true at all. Don't think she knows who I am.
What I would really enjoy is next time I'm doing a gig up in the Terrace Hotel is when I'm walking through the foyer, I just see like a candle lit dinner in the corner, and I go, who the hell is that? And it's just you and Lizzo tucking into a beef dinner with all the trimmings. I would really, really enjoy that.
Just like a Sunday carvery, you know what I mean? It's like a big jug of dilutant.
Yeah, dilutant on draft.
Well, you know, you never know. Weirder things have happened to Macafelt. That's all I'll say.
I mean,
yeah.
I think that's enjoyable. Just dropping in some lies. Like my best friend Dave is a comedian as well. I always like say he has like a different profession. I'm like, my friend Dave does stand up, but he's a butcher by trade. Like he's not a butcher, but it makes me so happy because he can't, once it's printed, he can't hit back. But yeah,
No, you got it's out in the world.
I did again the Irish News about a year ago. I did their health questionnaire, so it was like about what do you exercise, what's your diet, and I thought, I wonder how many times I can mention I eat eggs. So I was like, how many portions of eggs a day can I realistically tell them I eat? And I think I got up to like 14 eggs. It was like breakfast and omelette, lunch a scrambled egg, dinner steak and eggs, and they printed it, and it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy.
Well, honestly, I reckon you can kind of say anything, and people will just be like, "Yeah, why not?" They just need a story. They don't like. They're not talking to me because of my music or what I do. Nah, they want me to slag off Lewis Capaldi or rip into Lizzo or something. That's all they want me to do. Do you know what I mean? And they never get it.
Why don't you just come straight out and be like, look, Lewis Capaldi, I thought he was a friend, but he doesn't approve of my relationship with Lizzo.
That's my next one. Yeah. He's actually mates with Harry Styles now, and there's something going on there, and it's just all a real complicated love triangle now. It's like,
I got to say this on a totally unrelated subject. Well, it's not totally unrelated because you mentioned Harry Styles. I have a little bit of an obsession with Harry Styles musically and facially, and his song,
he's a specimen.
Can I ask, have you met him? Have you met him before?
I have not met Harry Styles. No, I've seen him I was at the Brits and watched him do that watery performance and change about 7 times into different suits. And I was like, man, I remember I was going to wear a yellow suit for that as well. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it because, control yourself. You're not nominated.
Yeah.
You've been invited off the graciousness of someone else.
Yeah.
You're not really meant to be here. And Harry Styles whips out like 3 yellow suits. I'm like, should have done the yellow suit. Should have done the yellow suit.
If you ever meet him, will you just say, in fact, don't say it, whisper it. Can you just whisper, Shane says hey? Shane says hey, and then leave it at that. And if he wants to arrange something or whatever, if he wants to play badminton, pass on my details, but just say I said hey.
I'll stick him on the podcast next week. Sure, see what he's saying. Like,
oh, imagine if you did a podcast with Harry Styles, I would hate you so much. I would really, really be upset. Yeah.
He is meant to be, but he's stuck in LA, as all the newspapers printed and made up stories about him the other day as well. So that's good.
Is he going out with Lizzo as well?
It's like the tabloids are bad. It's like that they just make up stuff to sell papers. I was like, they would never do that. And now that I've started being on them, I'm like, they do. It's all complete rubbish. It's mental.
Should we right now figure out something you could say in your next interview? Like, should we come up with
podcast?
No, just like a little bit of a lie. I mean, definitely this podcast. I mean, if they're like, tell us about the new single, and you go, listen, first of all, the Tea With Me podcast. No, I mean, I feel like we need to make up a really subtle lie that you can tell in your next interview, and the listeners would just
do like the street fighting one. The street fighting one's quite good. I wonder could we repurpose that a little bit? And just be like, because part of the story of the whatever, they're like, what did you do as a kid? I'm like, well, actually, I didn't really do music. I wanted to be a rugby player, but I was terrible at rugby. So I just did a bit of street fighting, and then went straight to the music. And
if they ask, here's the thing, they're going to pick up on that, and they're going to ask you, what do you mean street fighting? Then you just change the subject. You just change the subject and say, look, every sinner has a past, every saint has a future. You basically just move on and say, I prefer not to talk about it. By the way, so many guys have that tattooed.
The legal case is ongoing. I'm actually not allowed to comment on this right now, and we'll just move on.
I mean, so many guys have that tattooed. Every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. So many guys in Belfast have that tattooed in their back.
You just drop another name in, and they're like, look, if you want to know more about it, just talk to Sam Smith, and we'll be done with it.
Yeah. What about, did you see his the pictures on his was he like sitting on his doorstep? He's like, I'm having a quarantine breakdown.
I didn't see them. I've seen his Instagram recently, and it's been an interesting ride, his Instagram.
Well, he essentially...
fair play to him. He
essentially posted pictures of him on his door. He's like, I'm finding this difficult. And he has 3 pictures. He's like, I'm finding this quarantine really difficult. And he's in his pajamas sitting on his doorstep. And the first picture, he's kind of like, not that happy. Second picture, he's like got his head in his hands. And the third picture, he's just like literally gurning his lamps out.
Where is this?
Have you got it?
I've got the exercise one.
Let me
I've
see if I
got
can find
the
it too.
woke up feeling low today.
I think that
All I
might be
wanted to
it.
do was, there's only one photo and he's just like sweaty. No, he's
right.
working out in that one.
Okay, let me
Maybe
see if
took
I
it
can
down.
find this. Sam. Okay, I mean, just
yeah. Maybe I need to cry on Instagram a bit more.
I'm
just crying on my internet speeds and macrofelt. It's kind of killing me a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're on dial-up or not, but I just feel like if I phoned your house phone right now, it would go.
Yeah, it's. I mean, well, honestly, I should probably put it to 4G. I actually might do that because it's about 4 times the speed of my actual Wi-Fi.
Get the 4G going, but don't mention 5G because a lot of people are saying that's what's causing coronavirus.
What? Right, hold on. Can we talk about the 5G thing? Because grow up is that the thing that is it grow up?
Here's one I heard yesterday. I read online. People say, the way once a week once a week people are like, we're going to clap for the NHS staff at 7:00. People are going, that's to make up for them putting in the 5G towers. By the way, you've absolutely frozen as well. You've either frozen or you're so captivated by my conspiracy theory. Oh no, you're part of the Illuminati. Oh God. JC's part of the Illuminati, and that's why he's frozen. And there's a guy with a gun at my door.
We're good.
So I'm not saying you're in the Illuminati, but I will say this. I said to you, once a week, people are encouraged to clap for the NHS staff, and I heard a conspiracy theory that that's so they can drill 5G towers in when people are distracted. And the minute I said that, you just froze and like had to conveniently step away for a minute. So if I died tonight,
it was Jay-Z and Beyonce. Do you know?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
well, you've moved on from Lizzo quick.
Like Lizzo's in my past. It was a time of my life that was interesting, but then Lewis and Harry got involved, and the street fighting took over, and we had to move on.
Yeah.
But no, 5G is a wonderful, wonderful thing if you want to watch YouTube when you're walking down the street, and if it gives us cancer, then people have made a very bad mistake. But I mean, it's not. People think it's given us coronavirus, right? People have started coming up with that conspiracy.
Yeah. Also, I'm the same. I'm the same with every conspiracy theory. As soon as someone mentions a conspiracy theory to me, I go, "Oh, will you fucking wise up?" I mean, no, obviously not. That's so stupid. And then 3 seconds later, I go, "Oh fuck, that's right." I'm like, "That's right." No matter what it is, I go.
No, anybody can convince you. Like the world is flat, though. So that's.
Well, that's the only one I'm definitely sure of, and it is flat because we would know that because obviously when you're from Northern Ireland, whenever you reach a certain amount of social media followers, you get told. Like Frank Mitchell will come and tell you in person that yes, the earth is flat. So that's pretty cool.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it's only 7,000 followers as well, so that's why we all kind of know what the world looks like. Frank is doing a service. Who would have thought he was in charge of all that stuff though? That was a shock to me. School around the corner is just a front for the Illuminati.
I mean, that's the new tabloid headline.
That's my next one.
I feel like Frank would be a natural choice to be in charge of that because he knows the guys in the Met Office very well for doing the weather. So he's getting a lot of, satellite images. He
looking down on us. Yeah.
He's a few days ahead of us all. He's like, next week, this weather's going to happen. And I mean, 60% of the time he's wrong. You know what I mean? Like nobody really, like weather forecasts are not true. Like no one's ever nailed it. He's like, because they cover themselves like UTV, weather, BBC. It's all
if
the same.
I was doing the weather in Northern Ireland, I reckon I could do it at the Met Office. You're just like, it's going to be grey. There's a 60% chance it's going to rain. And if it doesn't rain, you've hit the 40% and you're actually doing pretty well for yourself.
Yeah, people go, look, it might hit 24 degrees, but it's going to feel like 6, so dress appropriately. And it's always just bring an umbrella. Are you living over in England full time? I mean, I know not right now, but in general, are you living out there? Do you still consider yourself living at home, or what's crack? You traveling?
No, I moved out of here I moved out of Macrofelt when I was like 18. I went to Portrush for a bit. Worked at Bushmills Whiskey Distillery as a tour guide. You may have come across me. Played in all the pubs.
that's not the natural. I like the way, like you said, like, you know, out of Macrofelt at 18, straight to London. You're like, out of Macrofelt at 18, obviously cross country, Portrush. I have been to that distillery before, and you may well have been my tour guide, but I don't drink
Yeah,
whiskey.
I was. Whiskey is. I didn't like it, but now I do like it. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing. But yeah, no, I did that I don't know why. I just needed a job, and I was taking a gap year, doing the whole gap year thing, and was just playing in pubs and working in a whiskey distillery. And then after that, I went and I studied international relations at university for a year in Brighton. And then after that, I went to London. I've been there for two and a half years, something like that.
And are you like? So the first time I became aware of you was you had a song out maybe about 4 years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
And you know, it got a lot of play locally. Like Cool FM gave it a lot of play. I think I had a show on Radio Ulster at the time. Maybe that's when we started talking, and and we gave that a play. And then it seemed to me that, you know, you maybe released another song after that, and then about a year later, it was like everything had like blown up and it was totally different. You maybe like went in a bit of a different direction. What was the time in between there?
Oh, I wrote songs for other people. That's kind of what I did. So I went and Snow Patrol actually helped me out a lot, and they signed me and they kind of gave me a little bit of money to go live in London for a year and write songs. And so I did that, and I was just super lucky, and I ended up meeting Lewis Capaldi when he released his first song, and we became mates. And then wrote on his album, met a few other people, wrote on their stuff, released a couple of songs that kind of worked. And then a few months later, kind of out of nowhere, I got offered a record deal with Warner Records and ended up there. And now it's like a year after that, a year and a half nearly after that, and it's like, yeah, it's just kind of it's just all took its time, and it's like a really slow build all the time, but all just kind of fell into place at the right time as well when everything came about. So yeah, it's kind of weird.
What songs have you written on or been in the room for that the people would know that aren't your own?
I mean, I think the most popular ones there's a song called Hollywood on Lewis Capaldi's album, which I wrote, which is kind of like live. There's loads of confetti and fun stuff. And then obviously there's my massive K-pop hit that sold about 3 copies,
yes.
Which you were talking about earlier. I wrote a song for... That was all you? Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But no, I wrote a song for a guy called James TW, who's like a big sort of streaming artist, called You and Me, which is done just hit like 100 million streams the other day, which is pretty mental.
Oh shit.
And then since then I've kind of been doing my own stuff since. But I had some good days writing for other artists. My favorite one, the last one I ever did, I'd quit writing for other artists, and I got a phone call from my management, and they're like, "You're gonna want to do this one." I'm like, "Probably not, but lay it on me. Let me hear."
Can I guess?
Got. Yes, you can guess.
Michelle McManus.
Better.
Sinead.
Imagine Michelle McManus, but her idols.
Diana Ross.
No, a little younger. We're talking like early 2000s. But
Sonic.
Still to the present day. What is it?
Sonic.
I don't even know who that is.
You don't remember Sonic?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, several very good tunes.
What was their big songs?
Sonic was, I think, just an artist, and her song was, I mean, this is weird because, like, you know, you're a singer. I'm obviously like, I can't really sing, but like, I don't know whether I should sing this little bit of the song to you or not. And then also, I only want to devote my time to stand up, so I don't want to sing it too well. And then I sing this, and you go, let me write with you, or whatever. And then
it just gets a bit weird. It gets complicated, doesn't it? So
I don't want to spread myself too thin. So the song was like, I'm gonna like half sing it, but like not really sing it, but just know that I could sing it way better if I wanted to. But this is kind of me just like messing
it's
about.
just that, it's like doing karaoke. It's like, yeah, I'll try, but I'm not gonna try. You're not gonna really try.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, that's why when I do karaoke, I'm only ever seated. You know, I don't like just always like to sit down.
Just see you in the corner with a pair of shades on, sort of smoking a cigarette inside. But like, give me the mic, stick on Bohemian Rhapsody. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, doing karaoke, and I don't have a drink. You know what I mean? Like I never have a drink from the bar. You know, I've just come for the karaoke, but it goes like this. It's like so. But bear in mind, this is like I'm going to do it out of 3. But if I wanted to, or open up the falsetto or whatever, I could do that, but I won't. So it's like this basically. So we don't even need to build it up this much, but it's just like, your loving feels so good, and that's what takes me behind. It's you I'm always thinking of. Ooh, baby. So, yeah.
Oh man.
MBD,
sorry, I just got. It's just.
No,
I really
I don't want
that one.
I don't want to get involved with music. Music's your thing. No, music's your thing. So,
yeah, that was beautiful.
But anyway, who was it that
never heard the song? This has gone off the rails. This is great. Anyway, basically, there was a band and they were doing a new album, and they were like, "Do you want to go this morning and write with Westlife?" And I said, "Yes, I do want to write with Westlife. Thank you very much."
Oh my god!
Didn't go as planned, for being honest.
Was this for their comeback album?
For their comeback album, the one that Ed Sheeran ended up writing all of, so there's actually no point in me being in the room. But yeah, so anyway, I went down and I was like, oh, I don't really know what to do. Like, what even is a Westlife song these days? How do you write it? Are they gonna be there? Two of them turn in. The two ones you can sing in the middle, they were both there. Mark and Shane Mark is actually a lovely man. So Shane, but me and Mark have we've become pals. He's a good lad. And anyway, ended up writing this song, and I remember suggesting a lyric. I've got me singing with Westlife on my phone.
Can you play it?
I think I probably can. What is it called?
Let me speak to my producers.
I think it's just called
here.
Westlife on my phone.
Yeah, I've just spoken to my producers and they said it's fine.
It's fine, yeah. I've just spoke to my management and they haven't replied again. So, yeah, I mean, I remember sending this back and thinking, I don't think this is my best work. And also getting an email back from Westlife saying, we think this might be too cheesy. Now, as a professional songwriter,
Westlife telling you that.
No, right? That was a dark day. That was a really dark day for me when I wrote a song for Westlife, and it was too much. It was too much. But I'll play you the end bit where it's me singing with Westlife because it's my. It's the. So that's both my crowning achievement and my darkest day.
Right, well, let me say this. Fuck those guys, apart from Mark, who, as you say, is very nice. You and me are going to record that. You and me are going to record that.
And we're only going to release it through the Sunday World. You get exclusive rights to that song.
Free CD copy, free tape, free cassette in every Sunday World.
You know the front cover where they're always finding like a new sort of paramilitary guy? It'd be like, UVF back in Belfast. Shane Todd and JC Stewart. That's what we got to do.
No, put your name first on it. Your name first on it. I'll just be featuring in brackets.
You just do the feature. Yeah. Are you gonna do a feature, or are you gonna just take a bit of the verse? Or are you gonna write a new verse over it? Like, are you gonna rap it?
Give me I'll sing a verse and then I'll just rap a bridge. I mean, that's
just freestyle it for a bit.
Yeah. But you're right. Okay. They always do sort of have a new paramilitary guy or whatever. I mean, a usual headline will be like, pedophile ice cream man ring exposed, or there's always like they are always cooking up something like,
and it's always in like Armoy or something. Like it's like,
yeah. I mean,
a tough one.
Stuff like that. Whenever you've been away, maybe doing a bit of work, whenever you get back to our local papers, that's when you go, yeah, I missed this because you don't get this anywhere else. You know what I mean?
So that's I haven't lived in Northern Ireland for an extended period of time for like 4 years. So I'm like, this has been different. I went from in LA drinking iced lattes to planting trees out the back of the field with my dad and just having to enjoy that. And you know what? It was lovely, but it's been good for me. I was losing the run of myself, if we're being honest with each other, in the best way. I was having oat milk and an iced latte, and that was too far.
I mean, you asked for a nice latte back home here, you're going to McGabry, but I imagine it does take adjustment. Like, it does definitely take adjustment because, you're in LA, and we were sort of chatting because we were going to be in LA at the same time. And I was like, let's get burgers. Like, remember you said earlier about you realized you didn't have that many friends in LA? As soon as you said you were going to be in LA, I was like, I don't know what your itinerary is, but clear it because I don't know anybody else apart my mate Jack. So it's just going to be
That's what everybody's got that one friend in LA. But people in LA actually have lives, and you forget about that. They're not on holiday as well. You're like, what do you mean?
That's what I say whenever I arrive. I go, Jack, put your life on hold because I need to have smoothies with somebody else. But yeah, I mean, that would have been such a good trip. That would have been great.
I mean, fun.
I literally the night before decided not to go. I was like, nah, supposed to go to Dublin Airport the next morning.
So I flew home on the Sunday. But I was meant to be there essentially for a month, all being well. I flew home after 6 days, so I got really far in. But I was out on the Thursday night at a bar with a pile of other Irish musicians, and they were all like, oh, we're leaving tomorrow. And I was like, these lads, they're scared. They're leaving tomorrow. And then I was on an emergency flight 2 days later. So I was wrong. Yeah.
Breathing into the paper bag. Full hazmat suit.
Just on the plane. Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be the way we're gigging. Full hazmat suits.
It's 2 meters apart from everyone. I might actually sell out venues in if you can only get 2 people 2 meters apart. It's good.
Double our numbers. I mean, what was that Westlife song going to be called, out of curiosity?
It was called That's Just Love.
Right. Well, I would love loyal listeners to the podcast to use their Photoshop skills and get our album single cover.
JC Stewart featuring Shane Todd's That's Just Love.
That's Just Love. Yeah.
Featuring Mark from Westlife if we get his permission to use it. I mean, we won't, but I'll ask him.
Let's record first of all, and then we'll give Mark a shout and see if we need him. Because I don't know if we will.
I feel like we're just giving him the opportunity at this point.
Can I tell you this without being embarrassing? My wife, and I mean this in the best possible way, my wife told me to stop playing one of your songs recently because I was just playing it a lot in the car.
What song?
I'm a big fan of your song, The Wrong Ones, acoustic version. Big fan of the acoustic version.
Thank you very much. That song bombed really hard. That song did not work. But it was one of my favorite songs.
I thought it was really, really great, and Stacey liked it too. By the way, I should point that out. But it was just the amount that I was kind of playing because it was on a playlist. It was on a playlist with 5 songs. That I had put together, just like fired.
That's not big enough for a playlist. You're gonna get sick of this.
It's not. It auto played on my car all the time, like as one of the 5 songs. So she's like, "Look, you need to change that up. Let's have maybe a month without." But no, I thought that was really good. I enjoyed it. I always prefer acoustic versions of songs for some reason. It's just I don't know. There's something like. Have you ever heard of a band? This is kind of niche called Las Vegas.
I did a weird thing in Bush Mills years ago, which was like a songwriting camp set up by like the department of something. It was like a government songwriting camp, which was as much crack as it sounds. But Las Vegas, weirdly, the lead guy was like the mentor on the songwriting camp. But he would just come into the room and you'd be like, "Oh, what do you think?" He's like, "Well, I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about, so I just keep going ahead. Like, yeah, it's grand." And you're like, "Oh, cool, thank you. Yeah, sweet."
Thank you, man. Do you know? Like,
he would just say he was there for the money. He was taking the money and he was running out of there. It was great.
For sure. I remember like their third album, they'd sort of like fallen off like a bit. Like they didn't have as much attention on them as like that first album, which was so good.
Yeah.
And I remember that guy just in America just like went missing for like 3 weeks, and they were all like, but this was the week of the launch of the album, and the band were like, "We don't know where he is," and it was in the press. And like I was like, to sell an album, definitely don't be sly and just like chill in a motel somewhere so people think you're missing. But I remember for their first album, they put out all these like demos before they recorded the album, and then they recorded the songs properly. And I always thought the demos sounded so much better because like you could tell they were recorded in a house or in somebody's living room.
Yeah.
But there was just something class about it. And I get like you have to do like a proper production for an album or whatever, but I just think I always prefer that sort of slightly rougher demo.
No, 100%. You gotta have a bit of rawness, I suppose people say. It's like in it. But yeah, like my next song is the complete opposite of that, and we've just essentially turned everything up to 11, and it's like,
K-pop.
Like it or don't. Okay, honestly, If we're genuinely looking at doing not a K-pop version, but doing an Asian version where there's a K-pop feature, that is a genuine thing that might happen. So that would be amazing.
Because nobody's really doing that yet. I mean, nobody's really like getting in touch with those guys to say like, look, let's get a bit of crossover going here. I'd like to see it. Like, I'd like to see.
I mean, it's not so much for the crossover here. It's just for me to kind of go there and make money, I would say. But hopefully they get the opportunity here. We're just pretending that I'm bigger than I actually am in the UK, and that's kind of working out there a bit more.
So, what? Yeah, I'm getting on. Close the door. Sorry, that's so embarrassing.
That's why every time I've been doing a lot of like FaceTime writing sessions with the people I worked with in LA, and my mom keeps coming in with like a cup of tea and just like firing out the door because she's terrified. She's like, "I'm so sorry," but yeah.
Yeah, like people in LA are so much cooler that their people out there are like, bringing them Ambien during the phone call. They're bringing them a bit of Molly, and people we know are just trying to bring us tea and biscuits. I'm like, no.
Yeah, tea and digestives.
Yeah. I've got some listeners' questions that I'm going to run by you. Let me see. Hopefully, there's a decent amount of them. I mean, I literally put it up, half an hour ago. So if there's none, that would just be extremely embarrassing. So
that's on me, really, isn't it? It's just my. Oh, I did a radio interview yesterday, and apparently they got like 300 questions, and almost 95% of them they said could not be read out in the radio. So there you go. Turns out that the people who like my music are scumbags, really.
Yeah, scumbags and perverts, essentially, which is the name of your album. Lauren Glancy, we've got three questions. Lauren says, what's his favourite coloured cardigan to wear?
My favourite colour of cardigan to wear? I think I'm going to go for the pink one. I like a pink cardigan. I'm not going to lie, that photo shoot was the first and last time I ever wore a cardigan, and I don't even really remember when that picture was taken or where the cardigan came from.
I was going to say, what have you done with the cardigan now? And bear in mind, I'm just asking for a friend who's my size.
Just for a friend. I do know where it was from. Where was it? It was from Kitsune Maison. If you like your fashion brands.
In Portavogie.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's made by that one out in Portavogie.
Isn't that the great thing about going to the likes of LA? You can like dress whatever way you want, whereas like here you definitely can't. Like
because I brought only because I came to Ireland. I booked a flight and I booked a flight on the way to the airport because I started that day where everyone's like the whole world's getting locked down, and I was like, I'm getting out of London. I'm going. So I only brought like 2 pairs of tracksuit bottoms and a rugby shirt with me because apparently I'm 13 again. Yeah, but anyway, so I said that I had to do things, and I had to order clothes off ASOS. Ordered my usual kind of London colourful attire. I wear pink trousers, that sort of thing. Went to go to Tesco. My dad stopped me at the door. He's like, wouldn't do that. Wouldn't do that. You look great. Wouldn't go to Tesco if I was you. Just put on a pair of tracksuit bottoms. You'll be much better.
Put on a pair of welly boots and and either choose between a Celtic top and a Rangers shirt, and that's your uniform here.
Choose your market, and stick to it.
Here's the thing: I like cardigans, but I like a grey cardigan. Like what sort of material would it be saying? Like almost like a fisherman's type, like a grey.
Oh, like the thick knit.
Wool. Thick knit. That's what I like. A thick knit. I hate, and I'm always saying this, I hate a thin knit.
Well, see, that's what that pink one in the picture was. That was a very, very thin knit. You know what I mean? So
I feel like the colour makes up for that, though. Christina Adams says, what celebrity's been the most obnoxious in quarantine?
Quarantine?
In quarantine, like since we've all been locked down in quarantine, like.
Oh, I mean, it has to be the video. It has to be the video.
Do you
know the one that Wonder Woman did? Yeah.
So, do you know what's quite funny about this? I had Jamie Dornan on the podcast last week, and
mental, by the way.
Yeah, mental. But his
dad delivered me, which is a fun fact. But then I told him that fact, and he was like, everybody says that's the only thing people from Northern Ireland ever say to me, because his dad delivered everybody in the Royal Hospital. So
Yeah, he delivered my brother and sisters. I mean, I think he was just delivering people. Even after they've been born, he was still delivering. You know, he was re-delivering a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
get back in there. Let me get you out for the photo.
I asked him about that song and how that came about, and he's like, it felt like he was like, it was just a bit of fun at the time, but he said the thing that he thinks made people go, oh, for fuck's sake, about it was the fact that the celebrities doing it were walking about with like mansions in the background, you know. So he was like, that's what he feels made people go, oh my god. So he kind of just did his in like in his kitchen or whatever, but he's like, you know, you're trying to tell people that like it's going to be okay and we're all in this together, and he's like, some guys walking through like a 45 bedroom, you know, white marble mansion. It maybe doesn't connect with the everyman, you know.
But like, it's like, I was watching Chris D'Elia's podcast, and he was saying the same thing. But even now, if someone asked me or you to do that video, and we knew what it was gonna, we knew what it turned out to be, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'd do it tomorrow, because you're like, oh, you don't like it? Oh, cool. That's fine. I'll just go back to my mansion. All right. I see how it is. Yeah. Whereas in reality, I'm literally struggling to afford tea bags, you know?
And I think like whenever, you know, the people who like get like post irate comments, that's not making its way back to Gail Gatto. You know, Gail Gatto's not getting a phone call and going, what? Venti and Lurgan thinks this is shit. Oh, for fuck's sake.
My favorite one, did you see Jared Leto didn't even know coronavirus was happening because he was on a 2-week silent retreat in the desert? Of course he was.
Why would he? I mean, I would vote that he did a silent retreat for a lot longer than 2 weeks. But I mean, I don't know. I don't really follow celebrities like on the likes of Instagram, just in real life.
It's just comedians I follow really, because it's just like way funnier. But no, I don't follow like the big glamorous older actors. They're boring. Like apart from Matthew McConaughey, he is a legend. Have you seen the video he posted? It's called Every Red Light Eventually Turns Green. See
on Instagram?
Yeah, I've got it here.
This virus this time might be the one time that brings us all together and unifies us like we have not been in a long time. So, yes, let's see if we can make some lemonade out of this lemon that we're in the middle of. Turn a red light into a green light. Just keep living.
Just keep living. I love that so much.
What I like is makes no sense. I mean, doesn't make sense.
Just, you know, let's turn lemonade. Let's turn lemonade out of this lemons. Every red light's a green light. Just keep living.
I think what he's saying is, don't worry about like vaccines. Glass of lemonade. We're all going to be
lemonade safe. Or be a billionaire. There's the two things that if you have that, you're grand. Just sort yourself out. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're not a billionaire, well, that's selfish of you, quite honestly.
Matthew McConaughey, just, I mean, that is it. I mean, if people are like, you know, like struggling with coughing and stuff, his sort of Wolf of Wall Street thing might actually be a good way around that, just to bring up the flame, you know.
He is, oh my goodness.
What a guy.
He is my hero.
Let's turn this red light into a green light. Matthew, let's sort out, you know, my income first of all, and then we'll look at the traffic light system.
With bigger issues.
Man, I got to thank you very, very much. I only use the word man there. I don't really say that often, but just I feel like you're in the music industry. It just feels like that is what I would say to people.
As you've probably not learned, I'm the least trendy man in the music industry. This is why I don't really get to go to parties and stuff, because they're like, you're gonna say something. I'm like, I'm gonna say something. But don't let me go.
But you're like, I'm not that guy. Trust me. Whenever our single drops, what's it called again? Love is.
That's Just Love.
That's just, as soon as That's Just Love drops.
That's Just Love.
Do you know what we're doing? We're turning a red light into a green light.
That's it. That's how we're gonna make this lemonade out of the lemons. We could cure the world with a turned down Westlife single.
That's all that's missing. They say all you need is love. All you really need is a single that Westlife passed on to be re-released.
And not only passed on, like passed on hard. It wasn't like we might. It was like hard pass. Yeah.
It was a hard pass. I got to thank you so much for taking the time to do the pod. Your music is on Spotify, YouTube, Napster, LimeWire,
World Star,
the Sunday World. world star. But yeah, I urge people to check out your music because it is really great, and especially the Wrong Ones acoustic. And people will get in touch with me and go,
Yes,
I
please do,
understand your
because nobody.
position.
Shane is the only one who actually streamed that one. So if you could stream that, that would be very helpful.
600,000 streams, all from one IP address. Thank you very much for doing the podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
And yeah, you should definitely start a podcast, but we'll talk about that another time.
I mean, if people want to listen to me talking, because I will talk for an hour. I will go, and it won't make any sense. And you're either gonna love it or hate it. Let's find out.
That's what podcasts are. Thank you very much, and I'll see you. Let's get that LA trip going, and we can eat burgers.
Let's get it, and we can eat burgers and drink smoothies and say, "Yeah, do it. Yeah, do it." Yeah,
in the year
man.
Year 2029.
It's 40, 57.
When I'm 40.
Oh, Jesus, man, I'll be 2029. Oh man, I'll be old. Yeah, I'll be like 30.
Yeah, you'll be 30.
I'll be 32.
Are you 21?
23.
Oh, my maths is bad. Anyway, let's just get that arranged.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
awesome.
Keep her between the hedges. I'll see you
Keep her between the hedges. Bye.
See you in Macrofeld. Bye.
See ya.
Sippers, thank you very much for listening or watching the episode. If you listen to the episode and you go, I'd like to see your face more, YouTube, Shane Todd. I do the video version of the podcast, or vice versa. If you're on the YouTube going, I would prefer not to see your face because I keep getting fucking hard. Even girls. You can listen to the audio version of it everywhere. JC Stewart, what a guy. Lovely, lovely fella. I think the kid's going to be a star. But yeah, very cool of what he's achieved so young, writing with the likes of Lewis Capaldi and Westlife, obviously. I mean, we need to get together for that single. I'm really going to try and talk him into it. We do a video shoot, we do the whole thing. Let's just see what happens. I think that'd be great. Although, what wouldn't be funny is I'd probably take it a wee bit too seriously and I'd be a bit awkward, but it would be still all good. But he's a cracking guy. Please check out his music everywhere. His music will just be everywhere. The song I particularly like is called The Wrong Ones. And he did, because you could hear me talk to him in the podcast where I was like, I really like that and all. And when I was saying that, I felt like I was cupping my chin and just like kicking my legs up behind me. But that you'll get that on YouTube or Apple Music as well. Thank you very much for listening or watching this episode. We are back every Wednesday and Friday. The lockdown takeover of the Tea With Me podcast. Also, I'm on Radio Ulster every Friday night with Dave Elliott doing the Rave Lockdown, 6 until 7:30. What else do I need to plug? The Boytown podcast comes out every Thursday, which is also me and Dave, the Northern Irish Ant and Dick, or Ant and Dick, or just Dick, a lot of people call us. So you can check that out. Also, the TV show I did last year called Previously, where I was going through the archive of BBC and sort of taking the piss out of old footage. It's going to be repeated in a couple of weeks on BBC, so check that out. And also I put in there was like a commission around for BBC TV shows, and I've got something in there, so who knows, maybe that could be something, and it wouldn't be dissimilar from this, but this will always still be this, because this is number one. I mean, family are number one, then this. Family tea this. Alright, and I hope you're okay with that. Guys, thank you very much for listening or watching to the Tea With Me podcast. See you shortly. Cheers.